Good day everyone. In this video, I am going to discuss on how to perform CRUD operations in SQLite using VB.NET. Now let's create a new project. Then search for Windows Forms. Then select Windows Forms app .NET Framework. Select, then click Next. For the project name, we will name it as VB underscore SQLite underscore sample. Then we will not change the solution name, and the framework that we will use is 4.5.2. Okay, let's create. So let's wait for it to complete the loading time. So for the form name, we will name it as my main. So you can name it as to any name that you want. Click yes. The next thing that we will do is to add reference to our project. So go to project. We will add a reference using NuGet package. So here, let's select browse, then search for system that search for SQLite dot data dot. So let's select this one. Let's select the SQLite core system.data.SQLite core. So let's select the latest version and click install. So click OK. So let's wait for it to finish installing. So it is already successfully installed. So let's check if it's already added to our references. So SQLite is already added to our references. let's proceed to naming our objects and setting some properties. So here we will name it as txt id no. Second one, txt last name. Third one, txt first name. Next is txt middle name. Then next one, we will name it as cbo x name. Next is cbo gender. Next one, we'll name it as dtp bday. The next, we'll name it as numh. For the buttons, we will name this one as btn save. Next is btn update. This one we will name it as btn delete. Next is btn refresh. And for this one, we will name it CRUD ID. CRUD last name. And CRUD first name. And this one, txt search. This one, btn search. For the last view, we'll name it as lbw students, or name it as lbw list. Then for this one, we will name it as lbl count, because each function is counting the number of records found or the number of records being displayed on our last view. So let's add some properties. So for the extension name, we will go to the items collection, and we will add some items to it. So first, senior. Next, junior. The first, the second, the third, the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and 8. Okay. For the gender, we will put male. For the collection, put male, or big letter male, and female. Okay. For the birth date, we will change the format from long to short. And for the age, we will put the value of 1 for the default. And for our search by radio button, we will select ID as the default search category. True. So now we are finished in designing. So some additional tips, we will also add tab so that we can use the tab key when navigating our window. First, the first one that you want to be the default selection when opening the program or the form, it should be the index, tab index 0. So let's put it 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So we will check to try it. So our project is still compiling. So here we go. So as you can see, our default selection is ID number, and when I move to another using, I will just use my tab key. Yeah. Okay, so our design is already finished. We can proceed to our coding. So before we proceed to our actual coding, we will first design our database. So in designing database for SQLite, I use SQLite Studio, which is a free version. But if you want a more much professional, you can use SQLite Professional or SQLite Maestro as your editor. So, but if you want free, so this is also good. So let's start. So let's add or create a new database. So we will use SQLite 3, the latest version of SQLite. Then for the file name, we will create a new database file and we will save it inside the debug folder of our project. So for the project of Visual Studio 2019 is located at the drive C your username, and then go to source, repos, then SQLite, then inside bin debug, and I am using inside the debug we will use times 64. No, inside the debug folder, just inside the debug folder. Then we will name it as student underscore info. So that's the name of our database. Then our extension is, we can use DB3 or SQLite 3, so it's your choice. So I will use DB3. okay. Then test connection, the connection is okay. And as you can see, student underscore info data SQLite database is already added. So okay, then we will add so we will connect this database to make it active. Then let's add or create a table. Then I will name it as student tbl underscore or tbl underscore student. Then it's okay. Let's add column. So our first column, based on our design, let's move this one. So we will design our database table based on the data that we collect. We will add, so the first column is id underscore now, database type is integer. Then let's make it as the primary key, unique, and not null. Then okay, let's add another one. Last name, data type, we will use varchar. Let's make it 250, 255. Should be not null. Next, first name, and it is also varchar 255, not null. Then next is middle name, data type is also varchar, but here in the middle name we will allow it as a null, because nowadays middle name, people with no middle name is also allowed, so it's okay. Add an X name or extension name, the type is also varchar, and the length for this is, let's say, 5. It's okay to be null. Then edit this one. I forgot to put the length. Then next, another column. Let's add another column for gender, data type varchar, then test10. So null is not allowed. Gender is required. The next, b-day or birthday. Let's put reset date, not null. You are not allowed if you have not have you don't have a birthday. The next one and the last one is age. And the data type is integer. The length is 11 and it also not null. So now we have our table. We have to execute the query in order for our table to be fully designed. So committed, so successful. We have already a table here. We have already our table but without data. Now, since we have already designed our database, we'll proceed to our actual coding. So here my practice is I always use or I declared global variables or public variables on another module. So I always create a module that handle all the connections and public or global variables. So let's add a module that will handle our global variables and connection. So let's name this one as mode connection, or any name. You can name it as mode settings. So let's settings, then add. So here we have our mode settings or our module. So first thing we need to do is to import our SQLite reference system dot data dot SQLite. Okay. The next thing we need to do, since we already imported our SQLite, now we will declare our public variables. So public con for variable name for connection as new SQLite connection. The next, public cmd as new SQLite command. Okay. Next, public dr as SQLite data reader. public DA as SQLite data adapter, public DT as new data table, then public DS as data set. The next, public query or any variable name that will handle your query, your database query. A string. And really the most important part, variables that handle the connection path or the location of our database. So public db full, I name this as db full path, but you can name it to whatever you want. Application that startup path and student underscore info that we use db3 as an extension. Then the next one is public constr or connection string equals string dot format data source equals zero version equals 3 and string that format data source so y or y. Okay, I forgot. So now we will declare a public sub or function for our connection. Public sub, I will name it as open con. So we created a sub or function for our connection. So let's try con equals new SQLite connection. Then we will check if it is open. If con equals connection dot open, then con dot close. No and if. So this one, if we perform operation and we forgot to close our connection, this one will close it before we open another connection. Con dot connection string equals constr con dot open. So now our connection is open, and we will message if it is an error. Message box that show ex that message, and we will indicate which function throw the error, and message box buttons that okay, message box dot icon equals error. So here we're good to go. So now we will check, we will create a temporary message that will check if our connection is successful. MSG box, then we will check our connection if it is okay. Connection successful. We will save it and we will check if it is running. So to trigger, we will trigger this open con on the form load. So to access form load, you should double click the form. So here we have form load. So we will try also import to make sure to avoid error. We will also import SQLite here. Then we will open con. Yes, here we go. We will check if this is already okay. So now our program is ready. So where's the message box? So I'll try to run it again. I see. So it says that our connection was successful. So it means our main program is already connected to the database. So we will disable this one by making it as a comment. Now so as you can see, our last view here had no columns yet or no design, but we will not design it fixed. We will put some grids using the hard code or the hard way. So let's start. So inside, so we will disable this first. So inside our, so we will design the list view every time our main form loads. So dim w as integer, we will get the width of our list view. lbw students that width minus 22. So this code in always creates or allocate a value of 22 for the scroll bar, for the vertical scroll bar. This one is the size of our scroll bar, like this one. So it automatically reserve a value for that. With lbw students that full row select equals true, that grid lines equals true, that view equals view that details, columns that columns that clear. Then now we will add columns that will handle our data. So for our ID, then we will compute the width that will be allocated to our ID. So to compute that, we will need to see in width, the remaining width subtracted with 22. Width times, we will use the 20% of the remaining width for the ID, that columns that add for our full name. We will combine all the names. Full name, cint width times, let's say 0.65 or 65%. So we already used 85% of the remaining width. Then we have columns that add next one, we will display the gender. we will use cint w times the remaining is 15%. So all in all, we have 65 plus 15 equals 80 plus 20 equals 100%. So we all have 100% of all the width of our list view. So as you can see, the ID is 20%, full name 65%, and the gender is 15%, and this part is the reserve 22. So we have already designed our list view through code. Now let's create a function that will read or get all the data from the database. So we will create a public sub get all or load all. Get all. Let's use get all. Get all student. So we have function that will get all student from the database. Then open the connection. So for our query, we will use select all from tbl, but the name of our table tbl underscore students. cmd equals new SQLite command. Data reader that execute reader. First, we will delete or remove items from the list or from the list view. So it's clear. So while they are the read, then I will declare a variable that will hold the items. In my list view, temporary items before it will be going to be displayed on the list view. Here we will concatenate or combine the first name, last name, middle name, or all the names. We will concatenate all. Our item 1 is the last name. Item 0 is the ID. Item 1 is last name. Then item 2 the next one is the item 3. The item 3 dr that item 3 let to string. Okay, my item that sub items that add 1 text full name. So here we use 1 because the first item that is going to be on the last view will be our ID. So the second item that will appear will be the full name or the combination of last name, first name, middle name, and extension name. Then the last item that will be displayed to our last view is going to be the gender. Always remember that in programming, counting always starts from 0, or index always starts from 0. So it will read it will read all the data from the database and it will display it inside our last view. Then next we will display on the count the number of data that we have inside the list view. That count and we will capture the error message box that show ex.message and the name of the function message box buttons dot okay, message box icon dot error. Okay, now we have added a function that will read all the data from our database. Now we will create another function that will clear all the enter data on our text box. Clear all. So the function of this, it will clear or delete all the data inside our text box. It will load, it will read all objects, the same objects. So if it will read all the objects inside the form, then if type of x, if the type of x is text box, then x dot clear. So we will clear the content of our text box. Then the other object, we will manually override all of them. CBO name the text equals CBO gender the text equals DTP birthday that value equals now num age that value equals 1. Okay, we already created a function that will clear all the values inside the text box. Now we will add or create a code for saving data or adding data or adding student. First, open the connection, then we will try. So for our query, we will put insert into tbl underscore students ID, last name, first name, middle name, X name, gender, what else, birthday, and the last one is age. Okay. Excuse me. Then we will use parameterized values. Okay, at id at name shortcut at fname at mname at ename at gender at birthday at age. Okay. cmd equals new SQLite command query con with cmd that parameters that add with value what parameter we use at id txt id now that text that trim so that it will trim all the spaces before or on the front and then the last character if there is space. First name the text that trim that parameters that parameters that what add with value add name txt name middle name the text that trim that parameters that add with value ename or extension name. The extension name is inside combo box that text that trim. Next, that parameters that add with value at gender UBO gender that trim. Okay, that parameters that add with value at bday that dtp that value okay that value only that parameters that add with value at age the last one num age that value. So here we go, that execute non-query, and with now if adding new student or data successful, let's show some message that show new student was successfully added. Okay, add a student message box that buttons that okay message box that icon that information. Next, after adding and displaying a message, we will display or read all the data so that it will automatically reflect inside our last view. So get all student, then after getting all student we will clear all the values entered, then we will focus on the text number that focus. What's this? Okay, then we will also show a message when we encountered an error. Message box that show ex that message and okay. We already added a function that will allow us to add student to our database. So let's check if it is already adding information to our database. So let's run our program. and check if it is already functioning, or add function. So let's say last name, last name, middle, no gender, that's male, birthday, May, the one, for year we can add 1990, for age we add 29, and okay, let's save our data. Oh, there's an SQL error. There's no column as ID. So our column name is not ID. So sorry for that. We have underscore ID now, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, ID now. So let's try it again. Last name, first, oh, middle, no extension name, male, 21, 5, 1990, and age is 29. Then let's save it. Yeah, yes, it's already successful. So as you can see, it automatically updates here because of the load update. Okay. Okay, next we will add a function for updating or editing data. So for editing data, so first we need to disable this button, update button. So remember that update button should be disabled first. It should it is going to be enabled once we selected an item from the list view. So let's set the value of enabled update button to false. Okay, then let's add the code for it. So it's almost the same for adding. Try. So query equals update tbl underscore students set last name equals at name. So if you can see, it's almost the same as insert. The only difference here is we have a specific rows that will be updated, and our identifier for this is the ID. Equals and txt id now the text dot string. So the id number will become our identifier for the columns to be updated. So cmd equals new SQLite command query connection. Okay, with cmd that parameters that add with value parameter at name at middle name txt middle name dot text dot trim that parameters that add with values at ename or extension name cbo ename the text dot trim, then that parameters that add with value at after ename is gender. cbo gender dot text dot trim. The next parameters that add with value at bday and dtp that value that parameters that add with value oops forgot at age num age value. Okay, that execute oops non-query After that, we will message if successfully updated. Message box that show student information was successfully updated. Update is student. Message box that buttons that okay. Message icons that information. Then we will also load or refresh the list on our list view. So we will get all students, clear all data, then since we have already saved and no items already selected, we will disable the update button equals false, btn save that enabled equals true, then txt id num that enabled equals true, and txt id that focus. Okay, then we will also display a message if ever there is an error. Message box that show update student. So here we have already added a function for updating. So we will try it if it is working. Sorry. We cannot try it right now because we don't have a function that can select item from the list view. Why no information? Oh, I see. I disabled this app. I also need to load on the list view to see available records. Okay, it's good. Now let's add the functionality for our delete button. Okay, For delete button, we will check if there is a selected items to be deleted from the list view. So if lbw that selected items that count equals 0, then if there's no selected, so we cannot delete anything. So message box that show please select an item from the list to continue. Okay, delete student. Message box buttons, okay. Message box icon that exclamation that focus. Okay, focus only. Else, if there is selected item, we will open try query equals delete from tbl underscore students where id underscore no equals lbw student that selected items 0 that sub items 0 the text. Okay, cmd equals new SQLite command query The student was successfully removed from the list. Okay, we have already a function for the delete, but we can't delete and edit yet because we don't have function that select items from the list view. So next we will add the function for our refresh button. Okay, for our refresh button, first function is we will clear all txt id that enabled equals to btn save that enabled equals true btn update that enabled equals false txt id that focus. Okay, now we have function for our refresh button. Now let's proceed to add a function that will get the data from the selected items inside the list view. Okay, so for our list view, so you can select what functionality or what action may trigger the selection. So in order to do that, you can go here to the event functions. The default function for selecting an item from the list view is using select and exchange. So every time you click an item, it is already selected. But here you can also have a double click, a click, or anything that you want. So we will use the default one, the selected and exchange. So we will double click list view, then we will create a condition that Now we will also check, or we will also set txt id number that enabled equals false. So we set the txt id to false so that we cannot edit its value. And next, proceed. So selecting an item from the list view. Selected items that count is greater than 0, then open the connection, then try. For our query, we will use select all from tbl_students where id_no equals and lbw student that selected items 0 dot sub items 0 dot text %. Okay, cmd equals new SQLite command query and connection. Okay, dr equals cmd dot execute reader, then while dr dot read txt id dot text equals dr dot item 0 dot string txtl name last name dot text equals dr dot item 1 dot string txt first name dot text equals dr dot yes, dr dot item 2 dot string txt middle dot text equals dr dot item 3 dot string middle cbo xname dot text equals dr dot item 4 dot string cbo gender dot text equals dr dot item 5 dot string dtp dot value equals dr dot item 6, then num dot value equals dr dot item 7. Okay, after getting the data, we will also send error message in case it encounter an error. So now let's check if all the functions are functioning. After checking all the functions, the last functions that we will be creating is the function for search. That's the last one. So we have already one. I am going to add one. Yes. Me, you, us, (22), 3, 9, 22. Okay, save. New student has been added. So let's edit. You, me, you, and I. Okay, if you notice, as I click this one, save button automatically disabled. So next, and also the ID number, so that you cannot change it or edit it. So let's change us into I. So update. Okay, so as you can see, it already updated, and it now accepting new entry since ID number was already enabled, and save button is already enabled, and the update button returned to being disabled. So next, select, and now I can delete this item. So as you can see, it's already removed. So, and refresh. So okay, now almost all the basic functionalities are working. Okay, now let's proceed to the last function, the search function. So double click the search button, and we will open the connection, try to catch the error, and our query is equals to our main query. Select all from TBL underscore students So yeah, that's our main query. Then we will use these radio buttons as our reference for searching. So if RUD ID dot check equals true, then our query is going to add where id underscore no equals txt search dot text dot trim, and okay, that's our first query for the id. Else if RUD the second one, last name, RUD last name dot check equals true, then query plus equals, or we will concatenate this new query to the original query. So plus where last name equals txt search dot text dot trim, and okay, else if there's another one, RUD first name dot check equals true, then our new query will become plus equals where first name equals txt search dot text dot trim, and oops, okay, and if so for cmd equals new SQLite command query con, then dr data reader equals cmd dot execute reader. Then first we will clear the content of the list view that items that clear. Okay, now that the item is cleared, while dr.read, so while our dr is reading the content, so here it comes again, dim my item as last view item equals lbw students dot items dot add dr dot item 0 dot string. Okay, dim full name as string equals dr dot by reverse dr dot item 1 dot string and dr dot item 2 dot string and dr dot item 3 dot string. Okay, my item dot sub items dot add 1 dot text equals full name my item dot sub items dot add 2 of dot text equals dr dot item 5 dot string. So yeah, that's all. lbl count dot text equals lbw students dot items dot count and then message box that show ex that message and search student message box that bottom. Okay, oh no, sorry, message box that icon error. Okay, I think all is good now, so let's check. if the search function is working. So let me add another one. You as in 22 03 okay 22 save. Okay, now we have to I will search for 212121. Okay, it's working. For the last name, you, is that correct? No, no item. Oh, you. So it's working for the first name. So last name is last. Okay, all is good. Searching is good. So it's working fine. So all the functionality of our program are all working. Let's check it for the last time before we end this video. So for adding, let's add. Okay, yeah, let's add gender male 2000 20 and save. So student was successfully added. So after adding, automatically the focus is on the ID number. So let's check the edit function. So selected, update. So we will update me, you, and let's say I. Update. Student information is fully updated. Okay, updated. It becomes I. Now let's delete one of the records. Select delete. Student was successfully removed from the list. Okay, so it was removed. Then let's refresh. So when refreshing, it will automatically accept new input. Okay, for the search function, we can use ID, last name, and first name for or as our reference for searching. So we will use first the ID. 26461316. Then search. So if ID is working. For the last name, we will use last search, and for the first name, we will search it as name. Okay, it's working. So that's all. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something from this video and hope it can guide you in creating softwares using bb.net, and SQLite Azure Database. Once again, thank you for watching and enjoy coding.